This week on Music Worth Buying, we're going to be checking out Going to Hell by the Pretty Reckless.
And Coldplay's Ghost Stories.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Music Worth Buying. My name's TJR. I'm a musician and a music writer.
And my name is Robert Kinsler, and I'm a music writer, and sure enough, I'm also a musician.
You certainly are. And we've both got some albums that we're excited about that we want to share with you. And I'm going to start off this episode with the second full-length album by the Pretty Reckless. It's called Going to Hell. And with a title like that, you might have some small inkling of what the music sounds like. Once again, this is their second full-length album. There was an EP released in 2010 prior to their 2011 debut, but this is the second full-release album. I have not heard the previous work from this band, but this to me is I describe it as very theatrical metal music. There are occasional flashes of pop, even some occasional flashes of blues, which helps to keep this a band's music from getting too monotonous, and also showcases that the band is not a one-trick pony. So we're going to go ahead and just check out a track here. This is called Follow Me Down.
You know, I really like that. I mean, this is my first time hearing the band and stuff, and I got to listen to a little bit of the song, and I really like how it has kind of this this heavy groove, like you would say, you know, but it recalls a little bit of Muse or maybe Queen a little bit, but also, you know, they have their own sound too. I'd like to hear the whole album.
Yeah, this first of all, this song opens with this extremely explosive metal riff. But it also has a groove to it. It grooves. It's got a certain amount of soul to it. And I love then how it breaks down into the chorus, into this very acoustic, more pop-sounding part of the chorus, or version of the chorus, I should say.
Right.
And then, but it's also a little bit blues-sounding too. And like I said, this band is no one-trick pony. This is a heavy hard rock band. This is a metal band, but a metal band that is not afraid to have little hints of pop come in, little hints of blues come in, just to keep things musically interesting. And as you listen to the album more, you realize it's also extremely theatrical. You can really just almost envision whole production numbers in your head as you listen to the songs on this album. Now, the band consists of Taylor Momsen, who is on lead vocals and rhythm guitar. I also understand that she is a regular on a TV show that I've never seen.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, she's an actress as well. Ben Phillips on lead guitar and backing vocals. Mark Damon on bass guitar. And Jamie Perkins on drums. Looking at the credits on the CD, it would appear that Taylor is the principal songwriter, with guitarist Ben Phillips sharing some of the songwriting duties with her. The album comes in a standard jewel case, and it includes a fold-out insert here. Not a fold-out insert, but just a booklet, I should say, right here, which contains... Actually, no, I take it back. It is a fold-out. It contains all the lyrics on one side, and it contains this poster of the cover on the back. So there you go, a little fold-out poster with all the lyrics. And this is just... it's really good songwriting, in my opinion. And the theatricality is part of what I think helps the songwriting. We're going to check out another song here. This is called Heaven Knows.
Jimmy's in the back with a pocket of heart. If you listen close, you can hear him cry. Oh Lord, heaven knows we belong way down below. Sing it. Oh Lord, heaven knows we belong way down below. Way down below, way down below. Judy's in the front.
And that song's called Heaven Knows, and I got to listen a little bit, again, this is my first time hearing it, but we were talking off camera, and again, Joan Jett's vocals come to mind, but with a lot more range, and then, like you were saying, that theatrical sense you get from maybe listening to Queen or Muse. I hear that here, but it sounds like they're you know, they have their own voice that they're using in their own songs.
Absolutely. Yeah, the use of the children. I don't know how much we'll get to once again play for the people listening at home, because we can only play a short clip for copyright reasons. But you really that the use of the children's choir during the
really
chorus,
nice.
you know, just adds to that whole theatricality of the music. And I can see where you're making the Queen comparisons for that reason. There's also a deluxe version of this album that's available on Amazon. I think Best Buy has it too, where it has some bonus tracks. I'm holding up just the standard version, but you can get the deluxe version for just a few dollars more on Amazon or at Best Buy here in the United States. And I recommend it because I've listened to the bonus tracks. They're well worth getting. There are some acoustic versions of tracks that are already on the album, and they're good acoustic renditions of the songs. So I do recommend, if you can find it, go get yourself the deluxe edition with the extra bonus tracks. They're well worth getting.
And I definitely, before we move on to my choice, I'm looking forward to hearing this album, and I plan to check it out too, and hopefully get to write about it in my column as well.
Cool. I hope more people will check out the Pretty Reckless. So what do you got for us?
Well, actually, I've brought in an album that by an artist that probably everybody knows, and that's Ghost Stories by Coldplay. You know, I was not a big fan of the band's last album. I've been a bigger fan of some of their earlier albums, but this album is very different from anything Coldplay's ever done. In large part, I think, is because it basically chronicles, and this is my perception. If I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody out there is going to correct it. But it sounds like it's basically focused almost entirely on Chris Martin's kind of his relationship, kind of
his separation.
Separation from Gwyneth Paltrow. And literally, I mean, I just made some rough notes here, but the first song always in my head, and that's the first lines you hear on the album is "I think of you, I haven't slept." Other songs go into lines like "I can't get over you," but I still call it magic. It sounds like he's grappling with trying to understand what happened, and then the emotional aftermath of what that's done to him. And the band supports him fully in terms of the music being very, descriptive, emotional. And this is not an uplifting album. I mean, it kind of ties in with the theme, but that's not to say that these songs are not worth listening to. They definitely are. And I thought what we'd do first is let's listen to the one signature song on the album, and this is kind of the sound that everybody knows from Coldplay. And this song is called "A Sky Full of Stars," and let's listen to a little bit of that one.
Sure, cool.
'Cause you're a sky full of stars. I wanna die in your arms. You get lighter the more it gets dark. I'm gonna give.
And again, that's one of many good songs on here, but pretty much with the possible exception of Magic, which isn't nearly this driving, is pretty much the only up-tempo song that you associate with the band. After we talk a little bit about the packaging, we're going to play a song that's more, I think, indicative of kind of where the band is at least with this album. What I think I found really interesting when I was listening to this, because I did listen to it very carefully with the lyrics, as you go, basically every song is tackling the same subject matter, but it's almost like he's trying to understand different things about relationships and about how that impacts him. And I found that pretty interesting that he was able to just focus so squarely on this one thing for the span of a full album and keep things interesting with the music. Like one song that I really wanted to point out is like on the song "True Love." It's very symphonic, and there's a guitar solo on here where it's half beautiful, but there's also some notes that almost sound like they're intentionally atonal or something like that, almost to show like the pain of what's happening. And I just thought that there's a lot of work in these quiet songs that is a little new territory for the band.
Okay.
Where they're so identified with songs like "Yellow" and some of these more uplifting, or "Clocks," these kind of explosive Britpop songs, and this is very different than that.
And this is the only song on the album that you feel has what you call the signature, Coldplay sound.
I would say so. Even like I said, Magic, which I think is, they perform that on a few of the late night shows, and I think it's been getting some airplay. That I think is even a little bit, you recognize it as Coldplay. You can hear it's Chris Martin singing, a little bit more, nuanced.
Okay.
Not quite as that driving sound that kind of has spawned some of their biggest hits and that kind of thing.
Okay.
What I did is I went to Target because they have a deluxe edition that has 3 additional tracks. So it's a standard jewel case, but it does come in the slip case here as well.
Which is very nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. And although the booklet, and it does come with a nice booklet, there's no lyrics in it, but there is some, nice photos of the band and then some nice artwork. And if you look at it closely, you can see some of the messages and some of the things that are being talked about in the songs are kind of borne out in the artwork as well.
Yeah, something I want to bring up too, because you were mentioning at the beginning, you said you feel that this is about the breakup,
right?
And I would say that's pretty indicative by looking at this cover, in my opinion. The moment you look at this, I mean, look at it closely. It could like a pair of wings, and I get to see some angels and some of that artwork.
Yeah.
But at first glance, this could also just simply be a heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah. That's a good call.
To me, when I first saw this, that seemed like when you talked about this and I saw the cover, that that seems pretty likely in my opinion. Anyway, that's my observation.
Yeah, yeah. And what I thought we'd close with is my favorite song on the album is called "Oh," and I thought we'd do is play a little bit of that and then just talk about that one briefly. Okay. I think it's a fantastic song.
Okay, let's check it out.
And I always look up to the sky, breathe before the dawn, 'cause they fly away. Sometimes they arrive.
Okay, now I've mentioned on this program before that I am not a big Coldplay fan. I like a couple of their commercial hits. I don't hate them or anything. I don't find them, horrifying to listen to or anything. But I'm just not that big of a fan like you are.
Yeah.
I liked a few tracks off their last album, and I hated quite a number of tracks off their last album. Now that I'll tell you though, this song, however, in its quietness, really made me stand up and take notice. That last song, I agree with you, sounds like signature Coldplay, and first listen, I would have to say, didn't do a whole lot for me. Might do more for me on further listens. But this one, right at the get-go, made me stand up and take notice, and made me think, okay, I'd like to hear more of what's on this. It's enough to make me say I'd like to hear more of what's on this, even if I'm not a Coldplay fan.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, yeah, I enjoyed. From my first listen, I would say I really enjoyed this track.
Yeah, and this song, like many of the others on the album too, there's a pretty direct and straightforward quality to the lyrics. Like "I miss you." This one, "There's a flock of birds, I'd like to fly away," or something along that, might not be exact, but the way it's delivered and it's so authentic, and you can just feel the pain in his voice when he sings, and I think there's a real honesty of emotion that it. Not saying that they've never achieved that in the past. I think they have, but this album is especially resonant. I think in terms of how emotional it is and how vulnerable he sounds and what he's doing with his voice. Like his falsetto there is just really, it's lovely and stuff, and it just really works for him, I think, here. Yeah. And before we go too far, I did want to mention there are 3 bonus tracks on the album, and I really would recommend that if you are a Coldplay fan, get that. There's a song called "Ghost Stories" that I think is just really especially strong and worth that purchase, and I think it was only $1 or $2 more.
Yeah, and that's.
But like I said, if you're a casual fan, or believe me, you're not going to go wrong by just buying "Ghost Stories" a standard version.
Well, that one song, like I said, certainly made me take notice and made me think I would be interested in hearing more.
Yeah,
based
great.
on that. So yeah. Okay, well, cool. Thanks for bringing that in, man.
Yeah, and thanks very much for bringing your album in, too.
No problem. Yeah, the Pretty Reckless. If you're ready to rock, here they are.
Yeah.
And we thank you very much for watching. We thank you for joining us here at the new channel. And once again, as always, please click under Show More here, underneath the video here, where you can link to the blog page, where you can link to where you can purchase these albums on Amazon and show your support for all the musicians and all the craftspeople, recording engineers, everybody who's gone into making these albums. Please subscribe if this is your first time watching, if you haven't done so already. And we thank you again for watching. Till next time, my name's TJR. You can check out my music at tjrmusic.com and check out my solo album reviews here at the YouTube channel.
And my name's Robert Kinsler, and you can read more of my work at ocregister.com and at musicnewsnashville.com as well.
We'll see you next time.
See you later, everybody.
Bye. I'm going to start off this episode with the second full... do that again.
Okay.
Here we go. 3, 2,